Okay, this is the second videos for chapter 14.2. We are looking at the future value of a continuous income stream. I know this formula looked very complicated, but after we clean it up, it's kind of like here. I wrote it out for you. This is kind of figuring out, not maybe for a business over the year, what is the income they're going to have and how much interest they can accumulate with the reinvestments, stuff like that. So let's look at this example. It's a little bit intense, so take a deep breath. Maybe it's gonna be okay. All right, so we found we need to find the future values at 2.95% interest compounded continuously for 6 years of the continuous income stream, with the rates of flow at f of t equal to 2000 e raised to 0.06 t. We need to compute the interest earned. So we're focusing on using the continuous income stream formula for that. So they gave us the functions for this is a equal to PERT, which is our function, and they say $2,000 e raised to the interest is 0.06 t. All right, and this is for the functions, and then they have this interest for us to plug it in for the continued income stream, right? So our interest here is going to be 2.95%, which we convert to decimal 0.0295, and then the t is going to be 6 years. All right, so the future value, let's write down the formula, ERT, and then integral of 0 to t, the functions, and then E negative RT dt, right? So let's plug it in and see how this works. We're gonna have E 0.0295 t is 6 years, and then take integral from 0 to 6 years. Our function is 2000 e 0.06 t, and don't forget this part. Sometimes students forget this part. We got a e negative 0.0295 t, and then dt, right? Okay, so that looks really complicated. Several things we can do. We can multiply the exponents here, so it's going to be e raised to 0.177, right? I can move this constant outside, right? So I can move the 2000 out. And the other thing is, if you have same base multiplying, then you can add those exponents, right? So we're going to have e 0.06 t adding a negative 0.0295 t, right? dt. Alright, so basically it means subtract, right? So we got 2000 e 0.177, and then taking integral of e, when you combine those two numbers, we got 0.0305 t dt. So there are two ways to approach this. I'm going to show you both ways with taking integral of e raised to a function. So what we have been doing is we let that to be u and do the substitution. And for the second part, I'm going to show you the shortcut and see if that makes sense to you, okay? And the shortcut, you don't have to get a new u limit, so you may like that better, especially for the simple one. Okay, so I'm going to let u equal to 0.0305 t. So du is going to be 0.0305 dt, right? And I don't have that number here, so it means both sides need to be divided by that number. So 1 over 0.0305 du will equal to dt, right? So we're going to use that to substitute back to our original one. We also need to look at the limit. We started with t equal to 6 and t equal to 0, right? Then the u need to multiply 0.0305 times 6, right? So the first one would be 0.183. The second one, anything multiplies to 0 would be 0, right? Okay, so those are my new limits, lower, upper. Okay, so I'm going to plug it back in over here. We started with 2000 E 0.177, and we can have E raised to U dt is 1 over 0.0305 du, and then the new limit is 0.183, and this is 0, right? Okay, a lot going on here, but we can pull that coefficient out. So it's going to be 2000 over 0.0305 e 0.177, and then let me do one more step. I don't want you to be confused. Okay, so if I do one more step, then now inside I only have integral of e to the u du with the limits 0 to 0.183, right? Alright, finally I think we're ready to take integral, right? I'm going to leave this number here until the last step when we're ready to multiply everything together, because it's not going to be a nice whole number. So after I take integral, we got again still e to the u, right? And then need to plug in those numbers. 0.183 for the upper limit, 0 for the lower limit. Okay, so let's see. So still the same thing, right? 0.0305 e 0.177, and then e raised to 0.183 minus e raised to 0, right? And after a few times we know e raised to 0 is just 1. And I think we're about to be ready to plug it into the calculator, right? 0.177 e raised to 0.183, this is minus 1, right? So let's use that information and plug it to our time. So use your calculator. 2000 divided by 0.0305, hit enter, times e raised to 0.177 times parenthesis e raised to 183, move it to the side, minus 1, close it. So my answer is 15717.92, right? So this is what you have in the account after all this time. That's the future value. So for in 6 years, right? Okay, so that's answer the question A part. The B part asks for the interest, right? So I need to figure out the total income. So the total income, we did those earlier, right? We're taking integral of 0 to 6 and then plug into the functions. That's for total income. And the last part we just did was the continue future value, right? Okay, T dt. So the shortcut I was telling you about is if you are taking integral of e raised to a function, instead of doing the substitution, and other option you have is, say, if you pay attention to what we have been doing today, it's all 1 over the function and then just e raised to the function, right? and then normally you will have C if it's indefinite. So if you want to do that, it's okay, because this question is really long and then I'm running out of space. So I'm going to show you how that works. So you know the 2000 is going to get pulled out, right? When you take integral with this guy, if I don't do substitution, basically mean 0.06 over here, and then it's going to be E of 0.06. For the integral, because I didn't change it to U, so I can keep my original limits. Okay, so if I plug that in, basically this means 2000.06, and then E raised to 0.06 times 6 minus E basically becomes 0, right? I'm sorry, this has a T here. Okay, so like 0.06 times 0, right? Okay, so 2000 divided by 0.06, this would be E raised to 0.36 minus E raised to 0, which is 1. So you can use the calculator for this part, E 0.36 minus 1. And if you put in the calculator, that should be 1444.31. So this is how much money you put into the account. Total income. So if they need to find the interest, then you are going to use the total in the account, subtract the total income that you put in, right? So 15717.92 subtracting what we just got, 1444.31, is going to be 1,273.61 cents. So this is the interest. Alright, so this is a pretty complex question, I must admit, but that's how this works. Alright, and I'm going to put some extra example link there from Miss Newton, so if you want to see more example, you're welcome to do that.